Captain Jiho sat in his chair looking at the screens. The blue planet below looked peaceful. White clouds moved slowly across green and brown land. He had watched Earth for 20 years from his hidden ship. The humans seemed normal, like any young species learning to travel in space. Dr. Hyejin walked over to his station. She was smart and studied alien life. Her job was to watch how different species acted and fought. She looked worried. "Captain, something bad is happening," she said. "Space pirates just attacked a human mining station near the big planet Jupiter." Jiho turned to look at her screen. The pirates called themselves the Crimson Devourers. They were mean and stole from weak people. The human mining station was small with maybe 50 workers. The pirates had 3 big warships and 200 fighter ships. "The humans will ask for help," Jiho said, "or they will run away. Smart people do that when they cannot win." But the humans did not ask for help. They did not run away either. Commander Minho was the security chief at the mining station. He had only 12 soldiers and some digging machines. Any smart person would give up. The pirates were stronger and had better weapons. Instead, Minho did something crazy. He decided to fight. Jiho watched through his cameras as humans turned their rock-digging machines into weapons. They used bombs meant for breaking rocks to hurt pirate ships. They sent their small transport ships to crash into enemy vessels. "This does not make sense," Hyejin said. "They cannot win. Why do they keep fighting?" The human fighters were outnumbered 20 to 1. Their weapons were weaker. Their ships were slower, but they kept attacking anyway. Every time a pirate ship came close to the station, the humans hit it with everything they had. A human pilot named Do Yun flew his mining ship straight into a big pirate cruiser. Both ships exploded. Before he died, he sent a message to his friends. Make them pay for every step they take. The pirates started to worry. They thought this would be easy. Instead, they were losing ships to crazy humans who would not stop fighting. War Chief Krazen led the pirate attack. He had taken over many worlds before. He had never seen anything like this. The humans were supposed to be weak and scared. Why do they keep fighting? Krazen asked his officers. They have no way to win. His helper, a warrior named Vex, looked at the battle reports. "Sir, we lost 8 ships. They destroyed our landing boats. Their fighters keep crashing into our vessels on purpose." Commander Minho was still alive on the mining station. Half his people were dead or hurt. The station was losing air to breathe. The power was failing, but he kept talking to his soldiers on the radio. "Hold your positions," he said. "Earth is coming to help us. Make them sorry they ever found us." Jiho could not believe what he heard. Earth was days away from Jupiter. The mining station would be destroyed long before help came. But the humans kept fighting like rescue ships were already there. Engineer Salmon turned the station's main drill into a giant gun. She shot pieces of metal at pirate ships very fast. Each shot could punch through thick armor. The pirates had never seen anything like it. Medic Taehyun helped wounded soldiers with one hand and shot a rifle with the other. When pirates tried to get inside the station, he met them at the door with homemade bombs. The pirates were getting scared. They were supposed to be the scary ones. Other species always ran away from them. But these humans would not run. They would not give up. They just kept fighting and dying. "Captain," Hyejin said quietly, "I am hearing something strange in the human radio messages. What is it?" "They are not just fighting to stay alive. They are fighting because they are angry. They keep saying things like, 'Nobody hurts our people,' and they picked the wrong fight." Jiho had studied war his whole life. He had seen hundreds of battles between different species. Most fought to protect their homes or their stuff. Some fought for honor or glory, but humans seemed to be fighting because someone made them mad. The battle went on for 3 days. The pirates kept losing ships. The humans kept dying, but nobody would give up. On the 3rd day, something appeared on Jiho's long-distance sensors. Ships were coming from Earth. "Many ships, how many?" he asked his sensor officer. "Over 300 ships, Captain. Warships, cargo ships, passenger ships, even small private boats. It looks like the whole human fleet is coming." Admiral Young-ho led the human rescue fleet. His big ship was followed by every vessel Earth could send. The humans had not just sent their military. They had sent everyone who could fight. Jiho listened to human radio messages as the fleet got closer to Jupiter. The messages were full of anger and determination. "This is Admiral Young-ho to all human forces. The Crimson Devourers attacked our people. They hurt our family. We are going to make sure they never do it again." The response from the human fleet was immediate and fierce. Hundreds of voices answered at once. Yes, sir. No mercy. Remember the mining station. When the human fleet reached Jupiter, they did not just save the mining station. They hunted down every single pirate ship. They chased them through the space rocks. They followed them to their secret bases. They destroyed every pirate ship they could find. War Chief Krazen tried to surrender. He offered to pay for the damage. He promised never to attack humans again. The humans did not accept his surrender. Admiral Young-ho sent a simple message. You hurt our people. Now you pay the price. In 6 hours, the Crimson Devourers no longer existed. Jiho sat in his command chair, looking at the empty space where the pirate fleet used to be. In 20 years of watching humans, he had never seen anything like this. Captain, Hijin said softly, I think we need to change our reports about what humans can do. What do you mean? We thought they were a primitive species learning to fight. I think we were wrong. I think they are a fighting species learning to be civilized. Jiho looked at the mining station. Somehow, Commander Minho and 30 of his people had lived. They were already fixing their equipment and getting back to work. Send a message to Coalition headquarters, Jiho ordered. Tell them we need to completely review what we think about human military power. As he watched the human fleet organize itself and head back to Earth, Jiho had a scary thought. What would happen if someone made humanity really angry? What would they do if Earth itself was in danger? He decided he never wanted to find out. After the fight at Jupiter, Jiho thought he understood humans better. He was wrong. 3 days later, his sensors found something impossible. Every human ship in their solar system was moving toward Earth. Not just warships, but everything that could fly. Cargo ships, passenger ships, mining ships, even small personal boats. What are they doing? Jiho asked Dr. Hijin. She was listening to human radio messages. Her face was pale as she heard the talking. Captain, I think Earth is getting ready for war. War? Against who? The pirates are all dead. That is what worries me. Jiho had studied many species when they faced danger. Most took weeks or months to prepare a response. They held meetings. They made plans. They moved slowly and carefully. Humans did everything in 72 hours. Admiral Young-ho announced that Earth was making a new military fleet. Within hours, millions of humans were asking to join. They were not just signing up to serve. They were fighting each other for the chance to fight. Captain Wanbin commanded a cargo ship that carried food between Earth colonies. When he heard about the military fleet, he immediately offered his ship and crew. We may not be soldiers, he told Earth Command, but we know how to fly and we know how to fight. Lieutenant Chae-young was a shuttle pilot who had never been in combat. She asked to lead attack missions against unknown enemies. Her application said simply, "Someone hurt our people. I want to hurt them back." Dr. Hijin translated thousands of human messages for Jiho. The words were always the same. Humans talked about protecting their family, defending their home, and making enemies pay for their attacks. They do not even know who the real enemy is, she said, but they are getting ready to fight anyone who threatens them. The human fleet grew bigger every day. Military ships joined first, then cargo ships with weapons welded to their sides. Passenger ships were turned into troop carriers. Mining ships became mobile missile platforms. General Hyunwoo was in charge of turning civilian ships into warships. His engineers worked day and night to add weapons and armor to ships that were never meant for fighting. We do not have enough military ships, he told his staff, so we will make every ship a military ship. The humans also did something else that surprised Jiho. They started training everyone to fight. Not just soldiers, but teachers, doctors, engineers, even children. Commander So-min, who had survived the mining station attack, was now training civilian volunteers. She taught them how to turn everyday tools into weapons. She showed them how to fight in spacesuits and how to survive in damaged ships. Everyone must be ready, she told her students. The enemy might attack anywhere. Everyone must be able to fight back. Jiho watched human news broadcasts to understand what was happening. The reporters were talking about something called total war. Every human everywhere was supposed to help with the war effort. Factories that made cars started making weapons. Companies that built computers began building targeting systems. Even artists were creating propaganda posters that told people to join the military. The most disturbing thing was how excited the humans seemed. Other species prepared for war with sadness and fear. Humans prepared for war with enthusiasm and anger. Dr. Heejin showed Jiho recordings of human recruitment offices. Long lines of people waited to volunteer. They were not being forced to join. They wanted to join. Look at their faces, she said. They are not afraid. They are eager. A human named Director Kyung-soo was interviewed on the news. He had quit his job at a research company to design new weapons. When asked why, he gave an answer that made Jiho feel cold. They attacked our miners, Kyung-soo said. Our miners were just trying to do their jobs and someone decided to hurt them. That was a mistake. We are going to make sure everyone in the galaxy knows it was a mistake. The human fleet was ready in less than a week. Over 500 ships of all sizes and types. Each one was filled with humans who wanted to fight. Admiral Young-ho gave a speech before the fleet launched. Jiho recorded every word. We do not know who sent the Crimson Devourers, the Admiral said. We do not know who might attack us next. But we are sending a message to everyone in the galaxy. If you hurt humans, we will find you. If you threaten our people, we will stop you. And if you think we are easy targets because we are new to space, you are about to learn how wrong you are. The human fleet left Earth and spread throughout the solar system. They set up bases on Mars, Europa, and the asteroid belt. They built weapons platforms and early warning stations. But they also did something else. They sent scout ships beyond the solar system to look for threats. Captain Minho, who had defended the mining station, was now commanding one of these scout missions. His orders were simple. Find enemies before they found Earth. We are not waiting for the next attack, he told his crew. We are going hunting. Jiho realized that everything had changed. Before the pirate attack, humans had been focused on exploring space and building colonies. Now they were focused on war. Every human ship carried weapons. Every human colony had defenses. Every human in space had military training. Dr. Heejin made a disturbing discovery. She had been studying human history and found something that scared her. Captain, she said, humans have been fighting wars for their entire recorded history. They have never had a time of true peace. Like that is impossible. No species can survive constant fighting. Humans did not just survive it. They used it to become stronger. Every human invention, every human technology, every human social structure has been shaped by war. She showed him human historical records. For thousands of years, humans had fought each other. They had become perfect at the art of fighting through endless practice. They did not learn to fight because of the pirate attack, she said. They already knew how to fight. The pirate attack just reminded them that they were at war. Jiho began to understand something frightening. The coalition species had all grown past fighting when they reached the stars. They fought only when absolutely necessary, and they fought to end conflicts quickly. Humans had grown their fighting skills as they reached the stars. They fought because they expected to fight. They fought because they were good at it. The final piece of the puzzle came when Jiho heard a message from human deep space scouts. Captain Minho had found something. Earth Command, this is Scout Ship Defiant. We have discovered where the pirate attack came from. The Crimson Devourers were not independent raiders. They were working for someone else. Someone big. And that someone is coming this way. Admiral Young-ho's response was broadcast to the entire human fleet. Good. We were getting bored waiting for them to show up. Jiho sat in his command chair, trying to understand what he had witnessed. In 1 week, humans had changed from a peaceful space-traveling civilization into a military machine that covered their entire solar system. And they had done it not because they were afraid, but because they were angry. Dr. Heejin, he said quietly, send another message to Coalition headquarters. Tell them we need to completely change our understanding of human nature. What should I tell them? Jiho looked at the screens showing hundreds of human warships patrolling their space. Tell them that we thought humans were a peaceful species learning to fight. The truth is much worse. They are a warrior species that has been pretending to be peaceful. The Coalition Council was worried. Reports from Captain Jiho painted a scary picture of human military expansion. In just 2 weeks, humans had turned their entire solar system into a fortress. Admiral Sungjin commanded the Coalition peacekeeping fleet. He was a calm, reasonable leader who had settled dozens of conflicts without violence. The Council chose him to deal with the human situation. This should be simple, he told Jiho as their ships approached the solar system. Humans are new to galactic politics. They just need guidance from a mature civilization. Jiho was not so sure. He had been watching humans for weeks now. They did not act like other species. The Coalition fleet had 50 advanced warships. Each one was bigger and more powerful than anything humans had built. Admiral Sung Jin expected the humans to be impressed by this show of force. Instead, the humans did something unexpected. They surrounded the Coalition fleet. Within minutes of entering the solar system, Admiral Sung Jin found his ships outnumbered 10-1. Human ships appeared from behind asteroids, came out of gas clouds, and dropped out of hiding places throughout the system. "How many ships do they have?" Sung Jin asked his sensor officer. "Over 800 ships, sir. Most are converted civilian ships, but they all have weapons." Fleet Admiral Cheong contacted the Coalition fleet on an open channel. Her message was polite but firm. "Welcome to the Sol system," she said. "You are surrounded by human defense forces. Please tell us why you are here." Admiral Sung Jin had never been surrounded before. In 300 years of peacekeeping, no species had ever pointed weapons at his fleet. He tried to stay calm and diplomatic. "I am Admiral Sung Jin of the Coalition Peacekeeping Force. We are here to offer help with your recent conflict." "Thank you for your concern," Admiral Cheong replied. "We do not need help. Our intelligence suggests that your actions may have consequences you do not understand. We want to help you avoid unnecessary conflict." There was a long pause before the human admiral responded. When she did, her words sent chills through the Coalition crew. "Admiral, humanity has been at war for 5,000 years. We understand conflict better than you might think." Dr. Hyejin was monitoring human communications from her position on Jiho's ship. What she heard worried her more than the weapons pointed at them. "Captain," she whispered, "the humans are not afraid of us. They are studying our ships, looking at our weapons, planning how to fight us if they need to." Jiho looked at his screens. The human fleet moved with precision and purpose. Every ship was in the perfect position to attack or defend. This was not the random positioning of panicked civilians. This was military formation done by experts. Admiral Sung Jin requested a diplomatic meeting. He expected to meet primitive leaders who would be grateful for Coalition guidance. Instead, he found himself sitting across from some of the most intelligent and dangerous people he had ever met. Fleet Admiral Cheong brought her senior staff to the meeting. General Bumsu commanded human ground forces. Admiral Nayan led the Space Defense Fleet. Director Woojin handled intelligence operations. "We appreciate your offer of help," Admiral Cheong began, "but humanity can handle its own problems." Admiral Sung Jin tried his standard diplomatic approach. He explained how the Coalition kept galactic peace through cooperation and compromise. He talked about the benefits of joining a mature galactic civilization. General Bumsu listened politely, then asked a simple question. "How long has it been since your people fought a real war?" "We have not had a major conflict in over 200 years, Sung Jin replied proudly. "That explains a lot," Admiral Nayeon said quietly. Dr. Hyejin was recording the meeting for later study. She noticed something disturbing about the human body language. They were not impressed by Coalition technology or achievements. They were studying the Coalition representatives like scientists looking at insects. Director Wu Jin presented intelligence reports about the real threat facing the galaxy. The Crimson Devourers had been scouts for something called the Hegemony, a massive empire that conquered civilizations on the galactic rim. "They have destroyed 47 worlds in the past century," he explained. "Their fleet has over 10,000 warships. They are heading this way." Admiral Sung Jin felt his confidence disappear. The Coalition had 3,000 ships total, spread across dozens of systems. They could not match the Hegemony in numbers or firepower. "This is why we need to work together," he said. "The Coalition can offer you shelter on our protected worlds. We can negotiate a peaceful solution." The humans looked at each other. Finally, Admiral Cheong spoke. "Admiral, has the Coalition ever successfully negotiated with the Hegemony?" "Well, no. They do not appear to be interested in diplomatic solutions. Have they ever accepted surrender from a conquered world? Our intelligence suggests they prefer total conquest." "Then what exactly are you planning to negotiate?" Admiral Sung Jin realized he had no answer. The Coalition's entire strategy was based on dealing with reasonable opponents who wanted something other than complete destruction. General Bumsu leaned forward. "Admiral, with respect, your people have forgotten how to fight. The Hegemony has not. When they get here, they are going to destroy everything in their path. Unless someone stops them," Admiral Nayeon added. "You cannot be serious. Admiral Sungjin said. The mathematical odds against success are enormous, Director Wu Jin smiled. Admiral, humans do not fight mathematical odds. We fight enemies, and we usually win. The meeting ended with a proposal that shocked the coalition representatives. The humans offered to protect coalition worlds from the hegemony. You want us to hide behind a species that has been in space for less than a century? Admiral Sungjin asked. You can hide wherever you want, Admiral Chaeyoung replied. But if the hegemony comes to this sector, humanity will fight them.
Anyone who wants our protection is welcome to it. After the meeting, Jiho found himself alone with Dr. Hyejin in his quarters.
Both were trying to process what they had witnessed. They are completely insane, she said. The hegemony fleet outnumbers them 12-1. Their technology is centuries behind. They have no chance of victory. Then why do they seem so confident? Dr. Hyejin pulled up her analysis of human history. Captain, I have been studying human warfare for months now. I found something interesting. What? Humans have won 17 major wars where they were outnumbered at least 3-1. They have won 4 wars where they were outnumbered 10-1. They have never lost a war where their home world was directly threatened. Jiho stared at the data. How is that possible? I think it is because other species fight to minimize losses. Humans fight to maximize enemy losses. They are willing to pay any price to win. 3 days later, Coalition intelligence confirmed that the hegemony vanguard had entered Coalition space. 12 worlds had gone silent in the past week. Admiral Sungjin sent urgent messages to his government, asking for permission to accept human protection. The response was immediate and terrifying. The Coalition Council had decided to negotiate a surrender. When the humans learned of this decision, their reaction was unlike anything in galactic diplomatic history. Admiral Chaeyoung sent a message that became legendary throughout the galaxy. Coalition leaders, humanity understands your decision to surrender. We do not agree with it, but we understand it. However, we want to make our position clear. The Sol system will not surrender. Earth will not surrender. Humanity will not surrender. If the hegemony wants our worlds, they will have to take them by force. And if they try, we will make sure they regret it. Admiral Sungjin found himself in an impossible position. His government wanted him to withdraw to coalition space and prepare for surrender negotiations. But he had seen human preparations firsthand. Humanity was preparing to fight a war they could not win, against an enemy that could not be defeated, with odds that made victory impossible. And somehow he believed they might actually do it. The hegemony vanguard arrived like a storm of metal and death. Commander Gangjin, leading a coalition deep space reconnaissance mission, was the first to see them coming. His sensors showed over 3,000 warships moving through space in perfect formation. Each ship was massive, designed for one purpose: destroying civilizations. Coalition Command, this is Scout 7, he transmitted on emergency channels. The hegemony fleet is larger than our estimates. Repeat, much larger than estimates. Supreme Overlord Vecthos commanded the invasion fleet from his flagship, the World Eater. For over 1,000 years, his empire had consumed everything in its path. 47 civilizations had fallen before his fleets. The coalition would be number 48. His strategy was simple and effective. Overwhelm the enemy with superior numbers, destroy their military forces, conquer their worlds, leave nothing alive that might resist in the future. It had never failed. General Council Leader Moran called an emergency session of all coalition governments. Representatives from 12 species gathered to discuss their response to the hegemony threat. The meeting lasted less than 2 hours. The conclusion was unanimous. Surrender was their only option. We cannot match their numbers, explained Defense Minister Han Jin of the Viridian Republic. Our combined fleet has 3,000 ships. They have 10,000 with more coming. Our populations are not prepared for total war, added Ambassador Yunha of the Crystal Worlds. We have lived in peace for centuries. Our people do not know how to fight. The surrender terms were harsh but expected. The coalition would give up their military forces, accept hegemony occupation, and provide tribute in the form of resources and technology. In exchange, civilian populations would be allowed to live under hegemony rule. When Admiral Sungjin received orders to begin surrender negotiations, he made a decision that would change galactic history. Instead of contacting the hegemony, he contacted the humans. Admiral Chaeyoung, this is Sungjin. The Coalition Council has voted to surrender. I am requesting permission to place my fleet under human command. The response came within minutes. Permission granted. Welcome to the war. Dr. Heejin monitored Coalition communications as the surrender decision spread throughout their space. The reaction was exactly what she expected. Relief mixed with shame. Most Coalition species were grateful to avoid a destructive war. But some individuals were angry about giving up without a fight. Captain Daeun of the Coalition cruiser Harmony spoke for many when he said, "We are abandoning our principles to save our lives. Future generations will judge us harshly." Commander Kyujin of the science vessel Discovery was more direct. "The humans are right. Some things are worth fighting for." Over the next week, nearly 200 Coalition ships requested permission to join the Human Defense Force. Their crews were volunteers who refused to accept surrender. Supreme Overlord Vecthos was puzzled by intelligence reports about human preparations. His scouts reported that Earth's defense fleet consisted of fewer than 1,000 ships, most of them converted civilian vessels. Any reasonable species would evacuate their population and flee to safer space. Instead, humans were bringing more people to Earth. They are gathering their entire population on their home world, his intelligence chief reported. Colonies throughout their system are being evacuated to Earth. Why would they make themselves easier to destroy? Vecthos wondered. His military advisors had no answer. In their experience, threatened species either fled or surrendered. They had never encountered a species that concentrated their population to make a final stand. Admiral Chae-young explained the human strategy to her Coalition allies. "We are not fighting to preserve our civilization. We are fighting to make sure the hegemony pays the highest possible price for destroying it." General Bumsu was more specific. "If they want Earth, they will have to kill every human to take it. And we are going to make that as expensive as possible." The human strategy violated every principle of rational warfare. Instead of spreading their forces to make them harder to destroy, they concentrated everything around Earth. Instead of preserving resources for a long conflict, they prepared for one massive battle. Instead of planning for retreat or evacuation, they destroyed their own escape ships to prevent anyone from running away. Dr. Heejin interviewed human commanders to understand their thinking. Their explanations were terrifying in their simplicity. "We cannot win by being smart," Admiral Neon told her. "The hegemony has better technology and more ships. We can only win by being more willing to die than they are willing to kill us." Director Wu Jin was even more direct. "The hegemony wins by making conquest easy and cheap. We win by making conquest difficult and expensive." Captain Minho, who had survived the mining station attack, commanded a squadron of modified cargo ships. His vessels were loaded with explosives and programmed to ram enemy capital ships. "Each of my ships will destroy at least one hegemony cruiser," he explained. "My crews understand that this is a one-way mission." When Dr. Heejin asked why his people volunteered for suicide missions, Minho gave her an answer that haunted her dreams. "Dr. Humans do not fear death in battle. We fear failing our families. Every human who dies fighting the hegemony saves the lives of people we love." The hegemony fleet entered the Sol system, expecting another easy victory. Supreme Overlord Vecthos had conquered 47 worlds using the same tactics. Overwhelming force followed by systematic destruction of resistance. Instead, he found something that had never existed in his 1,000 years of conquest, an enemy that wanted to fight. The human fleet attacked immediately. No negotiations, no surrender offers, no attempts at diplomacy. They simply started shooting and did not stop. Captain Neon led the first wave of fighters in a direct assault on the hegemony flagship. Her squadron consisted of 30 small craft against a ship the size of a city. She knew she could not damage the World Eater significantly. That was not her goal. Her goal was to make Vecthos understand that humans would attack anything, anywhere at any time. Her fighters punched through the flagship's defenses and crashed into its hull. The explosions barely damaged the massive ship, but they sent a clear message. Humans would sacrifice anything to hurt their enemies. Supreme Overlord Vecthos watched his tactical displays with growing confusion. Human attacks made no military sense. They wasted ships on targets they could not destroy. They ignored strategic objectives to focus on killing as many hegemony soldiers as possible. "They are fighting like animals," his tactical officer reported. "No strategy, no coordination, just endless attacks." But the attacks were working, not because they were destroying hegemony ships, but because they were doing something the hegemony had never experienced, making conquest cost more than it was worth. Every human ship destroyed took at least one hegemony vessel with it. Every human fighter killed at least 3 hegemony pilots. Every human soldier fought until death, taking as many enemies as possible. The mathematics of warfare began to shift. The hegemony had more ships and better technology, but they were losing crew faster than they could replace them. Commander Saiwan led a boarding party that captured a hegemony command ship. Instead of trying to hold it, his team set off explosives that destroyed the vessel and everyone aboard. Before he died, Siwan transmitted a message to the hegemony fleet. This is what happens when you attack humans. We do not surrender. We do not retreat. We just make you pay. Dr. Hyejin realized that she was witnessing something unprecedented in galactic history, a military strategy based entirely on spite. Humans were not trying to win a conventional victory. They were trying to make victory so expensive that their enemies would regret fighting them, and incredibly it was working. The battle for Earth lasted 6 days. On the 7th day, something happened that Supreme Overlord Vecthos had never experienced in 1,000 years of conquest. He lost. Captain Jiho watched from his observation ship as the impossible became reality. The human fleet was down to fewer than 200 ships. Earth's orbital defenses were in ruins. The planet's surface was scarred by bombardment, but the hegemony fleet was broken. Of the 3,000 ships that had entered the Sol system, fewer than 800 remained able to fight. Vecthos had lost more ships in 1 week than he had lost in the previous century of conquest. The turning point came when Commander Saiwan led a desperate assault on the hegemony flagship. His mission was simple: capture or kill Supreme Overlord Vecthos. Siwan's assault team had 50 human marines in powered armor. They were attacking a ship that carried over 10,000 hegemony warriors. The odds were hopeless. They succeeded anyway. How is this possible? Dr. Hyejin asked as she watched security footage from the World Eater. Jiho studied the recordings of the human assault. What he saw defied everything he knew about military tactics. The humans did not try to fight their way through the ship room by room. Instead, they used explosives to blast holes directly through the hull. They ignored defensive positions and went straight for their target. When they met resistance, they did not try to overcome it tactically. They simply charged forward, accepting casualties to keep moving. Half of Saiwan's team died in the first 5 minutes. The survivors kept attacking. They are not fighting to live, Jiho realized. They are fighting to complete their mission before they die. Commander Saiwan found Supreme Overlord Vecthos on the bridge of his flagship. The hegemony leader was surrounded by his personal guard, elite warriors who had never been defeated. Saiwan had 3 Marines left alive. They were wounded, outnumbered, and running out of ammunition. They attacked anyway. The fight lasted less than a minute. When it was over, Vecthos was a prisoner. His guards were dead, and Commander Siwan was bleeding out on the floor of the bridge. Before he died, Saiwan activated a beacon that allowed the human fleet to track the flagship. Within hours, Admiral Cheung had a hegemony Supreme Overlord in custody. For the first time in their history, the hegemony faced a situation they did not understand. Their supreme leader was captured. Their fleet was devastated. Their enemy was demanding their surrender. Vecthos expected to be executed. Instead, he found himself in a conference room aboard the human flagship Indomitable, sitting across from Admiral Cheung and her staff. "You cannot win this war," he told them. "I may have lost this battle, but the hegemony has thousands of ships scattered across the galaxy. They will come for me." "We are counting on it," Admiral Cheung replied calmly. General Bumsu leaned forward.
Let me explain something to you.
"Humans do not fight to win quickly. We fight to make sure our enemies remember why they should never fight us again." Vecthos looked confused. "You want more hegemony fleets to attack you? We want every aggressive species in the galaxy to know what happens when they threaten humanity," Admiral Nayan explained. "You are going to help us spread that message." The humans presented their terms. They were unlike any surrender demand in galactic history. First, Vecthos would order all hegemony fleets to withdraw from coalition space immediately. Second, the hegemony would pay compensation to every world they had damaged in the past century. Third, Vecthos would broadcast a message throughout the galaxy explaining why the hegemony had surrendered to a primitive species. "This is impossible," Vecthos protested. "My empire will never accept these terms," Director Wu Jin smiled. "They will when they see what we did to your fleet." Ambassador Jisoo handled the actual negotiations. She was a small woman who spoke softly and carried detailed files about every hegemony atrocity of the past 1,000 years. "Supreme Overlord," she said politely, "you have a choice. You can order your empire to accept our terms and preserve what remains of your civilization, or you can refuse and we will hunt down every hegemony ship in the galaxy and destroy them one by one. You do not have the ships to threaten my entire empire. We do not need ships. We have something better, the knowledge that your empire can be beaten. Every species you have conquered will rise up against you. Every enemy you have made will see your defeat and attack you. By the time we finish hunting your fleets, there will be no hegemony left to rule." Vecthos realized she was right. The hegemony's power came from the fear of their invincible reputation. Once that reputation was broken, their empire would collapse. Dr. Hyejin monitored the negotiations with growing amazement. The humans had turned a military victory into a diplomatic revolution. "Captain," she told Jiho, "they are not just demanding the hegemony's surrender. They are demanding the surrender of every aggressive civilization in the galaxy." "What do you mean?" "Look at their terms. They are not just protecting Earth or the Coalition. They are establishing themselves as the galaxy's protectors. Anyone who threatens peaceful civilizations will face human retaliation." 3 days later, Supreme Overlord Vecthos broadcast his surrender message throughout the galaxy. The words he spoke changed everything. "Citizens of the hegemony, commanders of our fleets, warriors of our armies, I am ordering the immediate withdrawal of all forces from Coalition space. We will pay compensation to damaged worlds and cease all aggressive operations." He paused, and when he continued, his voice was filled with something the galaxy had never heard from a hegemony leader: fear. "We have encountered a species that fights like nothing we have ever seen. They do not fight to preserve their civilization. They fight to destroy ours. They do not fear death in battle. They welcome it if it means victory. We cannot defeat them because they are willing to pay any price to defeat us." The broadcast continued for 10 minutes. Vecthos described human tactics, human determination, and human willingness to sacrifice everything for victory. His conclusion sent shockwaves throughout the galaxy. The hegemony has ruled through strength and fear for 1,000 years. Today we learn that there is something stronger than fear: the fury of a species that refuses to surrender. Jiho watched the galactic response to Vecthos's broadcast. Within hours, dozens of aggressive civilizations were sending diplomatic messages to Earth. They all said the same thing. They wanted to avoid conflict with humanity. Several coalition worlds that had planned to surrender immediately changed their decisions. If humans could defeat the hegemony, maybe resistance was possible after all. Admiral Chae-young addressed the galaxy in her own broadcast. Her message was simple and direct. Humanity offers protection to any peaceful civilization threatened by aggression. We do not ask for payment or tribute. We ask only that you remember, there are consequences for threatening innocent people. We are those consequences. Dr. Hyejin completed her final report on human warfare capabilities. Her conclusions were disturbing. Humans do not fight wars to win territory or resources. They fight wars to change the behavior of their enemies. They use violence as a form of communication, sending messages that cannot be ignored or forgotten. Their military doctrine is based on a simple principle: make conquest so expensive that no rational enemy will attempt it. They achieve this through a combination of tactical unpredictability, strategic sacrifice, and absolute refusal to surrender under any circumstances. Most disturbing of all, they appear to enjoy fighting. Other species view war as a necessary evil. Humans view war as a solution to problems. Captain Jiho submitted his own report to Coalition Command. Recommendation: establish permanent alliance with humanity immediately. They have demonstrated the ability to defeat threats that we cannot match. More importantly, they are willing to fight battles that we cannot win. Secondary recommendation: never, under any circumstances, make humanity angry at us. As he watched the human fleet regroup and begin patrolling Coalition space, Jiho had a final thought. For 1,000 years, aggressive civilizations had terrorized the galaxy, because peaceful species could not stop them. Now there was something in the galaxy that was more dangerous than the most aggressive empire. Humans who felt they had been wronged. The galaxy would never be the same.